All right, this is 4132, the hole block that you will complete prior to completing the base plate of the Trammel toy. So on Project Lead the Way, we have the multi-view drawing here of the hole block that we're going to be designing. So whenever you see something on a multi-view drawing that has these lines with A, that just means that it's section AA. If you have another one, it would be AB or BB. Oh, excuse me. That would be representing which section is being cut into. So we're going to create the whole block as well as the sectional analysis for you to see the inside of the block. So first thing we're going to do is create the block itself. So we know it's a height of 3. We don't have the overall width. It is not given. We could just look at the diameters here. So we have 0.5, 0.25, so we're already at 0.75. We're then going over to 0.375 and 0.5 0.75 are our diameters. So we want to be somewhere around 5 inches would be a good amount. So we're going to come over here, make sure you're in IED. You should have a folder 132. So this is where we're going to be creating the whole block. So I'm going to create a sketch. I'm going to do this on the front view and just do a 2-point rectangle at the origin. So our height was 3, and then we said we're going to make our width 5. So I'm going to finish my sketch. Now going back to that drawing, this is our depth here, so we know it's a depth of 2. So that means for my extrusion, we're going to have a depth of 2. And that does look generally about the size of the block here, width lengthwise, just to keep it around the same. So now we're going to create a sketch on the top, and this is where we are going to have the holes input here. So what I'm going to do is create points. So first I'm going to create a line actually, and we want it to go through the midpoint. So this would be X with a triangle, always represents the midpoint. Go straight across, hit escape. I'm going to change this line to a normal construction, and I'm going to place some points along the area here. You can do a rectangular pattern, but occasionally when you do the pattern, it'll set the same exact thing to all of the points in the holes that you have. So we're just going to create separate points for you to click individually so that they're not all linked together. So we have 4 holes, so make sure you see that X so you know that it's being placed on that line. And now we're going to go with putting in the dimensions. So let's see what 0.5 gets us in between all of the points here. So those do look like a bit close, so let's do 1 inch. So again, we're not really given the dimensions here for any of this. All right, so that last one, notice how it says I'm going to be over constraining the sketch just because we have all of these already. Adding that one in is just a little tedious. So 1 inch seems to be a good spot. That way they're all spaced out evenly. So now we can finish this sketch and we can go into adding our holes, which are over here. I'm going to go to the top view just so I can see what I am clicking. And over here, these images look very similar to the ones that we see here in the notes that you had previously taken. So we see what the different holes look like. So they don't show one of the one that I was just looking at. So this is for that counter bore, which if you notice this symbol represents, or it looks very similar to this here, as well as with the countersink. It looks like the same type of point that we have here. So our first hole we are told is just a 0.5 diameter through hole. So, and you can see there's nothing extra on it. So we do want to have the type of hole that it is now, which is just straight down. And we can either put flat, but we can also just say that this is an all, meaning it's going all the way through. That way we don't have to worry about putting anything else in besides the diameter, since that is even all that we are given. So click OK. You can see that it goes directly through, but now all of the other points we need are currently not visible. So we just need to have those sketches visible to us when we go to create the other holes, which for these I'm going to do slightly on a diagonal here so we can see them cutting into the block. So this hole, we're going to come here. For this one, we want what's called a counter bore hole. So the diameter that we see here is the diameter of the top part, hence it's the bigger area, it's the bigger diameter. So we have this portion is 0.75. This portion is a diameter of 0.375. This part goes down 0.5, and then the rest of it goes down to 2. So when we come over here, we can also look at the configurations here. That's what all of these numbers reference. So we're going to look at what we have here. We do want a counter bore hole. This was 2 inches. Our counter bore spacing was 0.75. The depth that went down was just 0.5, not 0.05. So notice how we're starting to see its shape. The degree, I believe, was still 118. I don't think they told us anything different. They did not. So if nothing is different, it's going to be a 118 degree. And then down here was 0.375. So if we look at our front view, we can see what the hole looks like, which is exactly what it looks like in the sectional view here. So we can hit, I'm going to go back to this, diagonal view here. I'm going to hit OK. That'll then finish our sketch. And you can't see it anymore from here, but once we do the sectional analysis, you'll see what the hole looks like. So a new, hole. We're going to select this one now. Coming over here, we have, it's a countersink, which we can see in this view here as well. So the countersink has a diameter of 1, so that's this area. And it is at an angle of 82 degrees. Then the middle area here is a diameter of 0.25 and a depth of 2.25. So we want this one to be countersink. It is angled, so we want the degree down here to still be 118, but this one is the 82. This here was 2.25. Up top, forget what I think it was 1. Yes, so a countersink portion of 1. So that's this area. And then down here was 0.25. So it's a very large countersink area with a very narrow depth, which is exactly what it looks like here. This is a lot more wide and this is a lot more narrow. So I'll go back here to this view. All right, I'm going to click OK because this portion is done. I'm going to go back to this view. There we go. So we need to create our last hole here, which is a through hole, a counter bore through hole, so you can see all the way through. It has a diameter of 0.75 again, just as this one did. This depth, though, is 0.625 for the top, and then it has a diameter on the inside portion of 0.5. So this one is a counter bore. It has a full depth. What was that again? Oh, duh. It's all the way through, so instead of distance, we're going to do all. The top portion here was 0.75. This one was 0.625. And down here was diameter of 0.5. So here is our counterboard for this last one, which we can see matches here. It just looks very rectangular and goes all the way through. Very rectangular all the way through. So we're going to click OK. We now have all of our holes here. I'm going to make that last sketch there with the points invisible. And we can look here now at all of these points, see if you can find where the sectional analysis is. Just going through, we can see different aspects of what Fusion can do, but we are going to look at specifically modify and construct. So we are going to create a plane. No, we don't want to do that. Okay, so we have our whole block here with all of our holes. And if you kind of click through to see where we might find the sectional analysis, so we don't see anything really under create. These are designing aspects. Modify, it's not here. These are more moving and aligning, changing the appearance. It's not under construct except for offsetting a plane. So if you look under inspect, this is where we're going to find the section analysis. So the cut plane we want to make here, you're just going to select on the front and we're going to drag it back 1 inch. That would be half. Oh, let's do negative. So then that cuts it inside so we can see all of the holes from the area, which we can do here. If we type in +1, flip it, you can see how it changes. We're going to leave it at the -1. We want to flip it so that we see it from this angle. We're going to click OK. And here we have our sectional analysis. So we want to make sure we save this. If you ever want to change it, you can just turn the analysis off if you want to have the block visible, and turn it back on, make the analysis visible to see all of the holes inside. So if we look from the front view, we can see this looks just like the multi-view sectional analysis that we have here. So we are going to create a multi-view of this now. So we're going to save this though as the whole block first. Save. We're now going to create a drawing from the design. Template is the project Lead the Way drawing template. And we're going to place our whole block here. We do want it to be from this view. We'll do a scale of 1 to 2. Because that would be more than enough space. The orientation, we do want the front. We don't want to show any visible edges, and we're just, going to leave it as visible. We're not going to do visible and hidden. So we're going to click OK. This, however, if you want to look and see what we can look at, we want a section view. So from here to here, and we'll do it like that. So that would be our top. Now notice how we can't really see the area cut in. So when we go to place it, instead of placing the front view, we're going to make this our top. And we're going to bring this, close. We're going to bring this up to here. And now we're going to try that section view again. For here, we're going to start out, go across to here, hit our check mark, and now we're going to bring it below. So this way we can see from the top to here what the sectional view is, And notice how it creates the same exact writing underneath as it does on this view section AA, scale 1 to 2. And we're just going to add in all of these same dimensions. So D on your keyboard, we're going to have this height is 3. We want to know what, I'm going to zoom in here. This diameter is 0.5. We have this as 0.75. All of these dimensions, 0.25. So see how this is starting to get a very, very crowded. So instead of doing all of the dimensions like this, we're going to add hole and thread note instead. So for here, we're going to do this hole. Let's place it here for now. And it puts all that information already there for us. So we're going to hit cancel. We're going to undo putting in all of those dimensions, or diameters, I should say. And we're going to do the hole and thread notes instead so that we don't have all of that extra stuff in there. So this would be our first hole. We can move all this after. Put this here. And we have all of our information. I'm going to shift all these so that they're not all right in the way. And this doesn't want to move to the other side. All right, that's fine. And we'll just kind of shift these this way. So there's not too much room here. So if this starts being a bit of a problem with finding space, as I am here, just kind of maneuver everything around until you have a good spot for everything, as long as nothing is interfering with each other. So now that we have all of those hole dimensions here, we now just need the height for where the circles are and the overall depth. So we need from here to, let's see if it'll, there we go. That part is 1. And then from here to here, this is 2. I'm going to move this in a bit. Move this in. It looks like it didn't click the right spot, so let's redo the 1. There we go. So from the center to the top. And I would prefer the 1 to be down here. And now we have all of our dimensions that we have on this same area here, which we didn't even have to put in all of this information. You just have to do the hole and thread note, and it places all that information for you. And then down here, oops, down here, you just have to fill in the title. Double click in this area. So the activity name is activity 1.3.2 whole block. All right, so if we do notice too, the 0.38 is different from the 0.375. It's just because the 75 is rounding to 8. So to change that to 0.375, we just have to come over to document settings. We go to dimension units, click on the change dimension units, and for precision, we want it to be 3 decimal spaces. Same thing with linear. and this one as well, just to make everything precise. And it then changes to 0.375, so everything is all set. Same thing with the 0.625, and changed it from 0.63 to 0.625. So everything is complete. We can hit save, and we are now completely done. You can export it as a PDF to upload it to Schoology.